Let's talk about the differences between Kickstarter and GoFundMe. And there are a few differences here, but there are also two different fundraisers. So there are people in the audience, maybe like you, who are raising money for medical expenses, for personal expenses, for charity, education, anything that can be lumped into raising money for your life or for a cause. And then there are people in the audience who are trying to raise money for a project. Could be a business project, could be an entrepreneurial adventure, etc. I'm going to address these two different types of people. First of all, you cannot raise money on Kickstarter for charity. You cannot raise money for a project and say you're going to donate money to a particular charity or this is going to this cause. And you also can't raise money for fund my life type of expenses, like for education or tuition or anything related to personal expenses. So right away, right out of the gate, you can't use Kickstarter for those means. You have to go with GoFundMe or another alternative to GoFundMe. I have a video comparing Indiegogo's generosity platform with GoFundMe. You can check that out if you want. There are also a lot of other alternatives to GoFundMe where you can raise money for personal expenses. In addition, if you are raising money for personal expenses, I highly recommend grabbing a copy of Crowdfunding Personal Expenses, my guide in Amazon. I'll link it up here in the description and also as an annotation. You can check it out because it is my proven step-by-step launch formula for raising money for education, for travel expenses, for medical bills, a whole host of different things, memorial expenses, etc. And this guide is just going to get you up to speed really quickly. You're going to spend a lot of time Googling around the internet otherwise. And you're also going to spend a lot of time trying to figure out how this whole thing works. It's a very inexpensive guide. You can check it out on Amazon. Now, for those of you in the audience who are raising money for a business or you're raising money for an entrepreneurial project of some kind, let me clue you in here as to the differences between Kickstarter and GoFundMe. First of all, if this is a creative project, hands down, this project should be put on Kickstarter. There is no question about it. If you're raising money for a film, to make and publish a book, for any other kind of creative endeavor, this is exactly what Kickstarter is made for. You'll be joined by many other creative types. You can go and check out my forum, kickstarterforum.org. Lots of people on there discussing their projects, etc. So if you do have a creative project, I would highly recommend putting it on Kickstarter because of the community aspect. The other reason here is it's far more in the light of a backer or of a donator, a positive thing. If someone comes to a GoFundMe campaign, initially what I'm thinking is, oh, they're asking for money. They're asking for a donation. They're asking me to help out in some way. When I come to a Kickstarter campaign with a really cool pitch video, really cool images, really cool reward tiers, which I can talk about in other videos, then I'm like, oh, this is like a really cool project this guy is working on. Or this is something new that's coming out. Like I can own a copy of this book. Oh yeah, sure, I'd love to donate or I'd love to become a part of this project. It's seen in a very different light. If you're raising money for a business, I think that's also the case, though it does vary on the type of business. If you're trying to do something more local, like open a restaurant or open a shop, you might get support from friends and family, but I actually probably would not recommend doing this on a donation basis. I think that if you're in the early stages of any kind of business and people are willing to help you out financially, you should be rewarding them with ownership in the business. They are taking a risk with you. Why would you take the risk of taking on their money and take it as like a loan or as a gift when you can actually give them equity in the business? That's a serious conversation, and that's something that I think that you should think of if you are starting up a business. Business should not be started on charity money. Like if someone gives you money or is very nice enough to give you a loan, that's awesome. But I would not use it as a primary way to finance a business. I would not use GoFundMe or another site like that. You can launch a campaign on Kickstarter, you can launch a campaign on Indiegogo, you can do equity crowdfunding even, or you can obtain a loan via a peer-to-peer lending site like Lending Club, like Upstart, like Prosper, there are a bunch of ones out there. The only reason that you should go on GoFundMe is if you're looking to raise money for personal expenditures or charity-related expenditures. I know that they have business sections on GoFundMe where you can raise money and you can get funding for your business, etc. I don't think it's the best place to do that, and I also think you have to really seriously consider if you want to put your friends and family in that light of giving out charity to you so you can start a for-profit institution. You're gonna be better off giving them shares or equity in the company so then they'll be rewarded, or at least a structured loan so you can pay them back with interest. I think that's more of a healthy way to use that relationship. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave a comment down below, and I also invite you to subscribe to this channel. And by the way, check out my comparison of Indiegogo versus GoFundMe, because those are two very, I think, misunderstood platforms, and the way that they do fee structures are very different also.